the news story today is a little piece about Randy Orton.
Randy Orton's going crazy on Twitter.
Now,
this wouldn't be nearly as big of a deal if Randy Orton wasn't the current WWE champion, but he is. So we're going to talk about it because he kind of represents the entire company when he goes into little tirades like this. And I don't think it's that big of a deal, but I think it's fun to analyze.
Yeah. A lot of people got triggered by his comments. And they're like, oh, Randy sucks. Like, anyone who says, like, oh, Randy sucks. Like, okay. Like, you obviously... Like, that has nothing to do with what he said, honestly.
Well, what did he say?
Basically...
So we can tell the fans.
There's a OVW trainer, because OVW is still around.
They just have nothing to do with WWE anymore.
Yeah. One of their trainers pretty much tweeted out a thing. Just talking about the indie match formula. Basically, like, oh, everyone's respectable. Kayfabe isn't a thing. All I do is dives, flippy stuff.
They know self finishers. No
self finishers. That's something I have a big problem with. But it's still. Other than that, it's pretty much the formulaic, as they said.
Yeah.
And basically, Randy Orton.
Agreed.
Quoted it. He quoted it basically, and just like quoted it, blah blah blah. And Bully Ray tweeted out like there's this new meme now because of it that's just ... dive.
Is Bully Ray just is Bully Ray Bubba?
Bubba Ray. Sorry, yeah.
Okay,
they're the same thing. Bully Ray is just Bubba Ray, but a bad guy. He's a TNA character, but yeah.
Gotcha.
But he's talking about how he did a ... dive, and then Randy's like, oh, there's a difference between a young hungry talent diving and an old vet falling.
That's funny.
And then somebody was like, hey, what he flopped just like your world title reign. He's like, oh, you have to be more specific, there's 13 of them.
Yeah, that was funny. Like, he's just being an asshole. Like, I'm not sure.
And then
like,
he basically
just trying to get people mad.
Yeah, he basically tweeted an apology.
Apology.
He's talking. He said, hey, I'm having some drinks over here, just having some fun. We beat Raw in the tour, made a lot of money. It's not wrestling in an armory in front of 100 people, but it's called putting butts in seats. So you keep on flipping, blah blah blah. I'm gonna be over here making money.
Paychecks.
Yeah.
He was like, I make money. I'm the world champion, and I'm better than you. And it was just like. This would have been a really good move if he was supposed to be a heel. Oh, God.
Yeah, but you know what? I actually like this. I'm not going to
I think it's funny. I'm not taking him too seriously. Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Randy
I don't
Orton
think he should.
Is a character. And
yeah.
I mean, it's his Twitter, so it is still himself to an extent. But I'm not taking that much of it seriously.
Yeah, I'm happy, though. Like, I'm not like, oh, freaking Randy, or I'm even not like, oh, freaking indie match formula, because I'm gonna be honest here,
freaking indie match formula.
Like, I've seen a good bit of ROH. I've started watching a lot more New Japan, like just random matches.
New Japan and Ring of Honor are the same thing. Come on,
that really doesn't happen. Well, they're partners, but it really doesn't happen. Like that formula that he's talking about, like the handshakes and stuff, that's not really that true. Like,
I think he was just trying to, what is it called? Exaggerate with some truth.
Right. Yeah, I guess so.
I have seen some indie matches. I don't watch a ton of indie stuff because I just, I don't care. But I have seen stuff like that happen.
If it's good, or
I've seen way too much of like Ricochet and Will Ospreay. Is that it?
Yeah. But
where a lot of flippy shit.
I actually like Will Ospreay if he's not facing Ricochet and vice versa, because they're still like even Ricochet tweeted about this. He's like, guys, who cares? Randy Orton's still a legend. He's still great. We there's all the different styles of wrestling. It doesn't all have to be the same. We can switch it up. And I'm like, yeah, good.
He took that really well.
Good input. But it's true in that
I think Velvet Ray literally said, "Oh, you're still cool though."
I mean, yeah, you can't. I think those people, you can't deny that. Randy he's been in the business long enough. You can't really be someone in the wrestling business and say that he sucks, or because that's disrespectful. And plus, WWE is obviously, you want to have it open. I think most indie wrestlers want to have the option open to go there maybe one day. You don't want to, piss off one of the highest, one of like the most popular guys they have right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, but
to lead into something else,
I'm not done talking about this, but yeah.
Oh, it's similar. It's similar.
Okay.
I wanted to ask a question. I saw a quote today that Stephanie McMahon says that WWE has no competition.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with that?
Like, what does she mean by that? Because if she means in-ring competition, yes, they do. They have a ton. Because you don't like guys like Cody Rhodes.
Business competition.
Oh, business? No.
Yeah. That kind of leads in with indies. Obviously, there's a lot of there are better matches in the indies because there's more freedom and there's people are there to watch wrestling. People aren't always there to watch a show. People aren't usually there. I remember in Daniel Bryan's book, he was like, I barely ever talked. There wasn't really storylines. You just kind of go out there and wrestle, and you let wrestling speak for itself. And there always isn't wrestling speaks for itself in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
There is, not always.
Yeah, but I think that there's no competition for the fans, but there is competition for the talent. Like, Drew McIntyre was being mishandled. He left. He went back to the indies, made a name for himself. Now he's back and he's better. Like, or Cody Rhodes. Do you honestly think that he's better off as Stardust than he is like right now? Because
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like in Jack Swagger, people are saying that he's the next one. And
well, I don't think Jack Swagger's going to do anything.
Well, yeah, I think I'll do something. Or CJ Parker.
I think he'll exist, but I don't think he'll be any better off because I think in general he's just kind of boring.
I think he'll be better in the indies than he would on SmackDown, making Baron Corbin tap out. But yeah, I think as far as the talent goes, like they have the option to leave. They can make money. People have proven you don't need to go to WWE to be a successful wrestler, and I think that's big. And with New Japan being sort of their in-ring rival, they just unveiled the United States tour. They're coming to the U.S. They unveiled the United States, the IWGP United States Championship.
That's pretty cool.
The last Ring of Honor show. Yeah, that's Jay Lethal's gonna be in it, so I'm pulling for him. I like him.
Jay Lethal better win. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah, and that's pretty big.
Yeah.
So we'll see how they do in the American market. But I think
we'll see how they do. But there's obviously no competition. I saw someone in the comments say, "Oh, New Japan Pro Wrestling is definitely a competitor. They're going to come over in this American tour, and Kenny Omega is going to have a Hulk Hogan like draw, and people are going to come and just to see Kenny Omega." And I'm like, "Holy shit, dude, get over yourself."
Kenny's been around.
No one knows Kenny Omega like the new Hulk Hogan in the '80s. You're kidding yourself, please.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. She probably wasn't even alive in the '80s. Early 90s.
I mean, yeah, but you can still know like the draw of something, without living in a decade,
right? Yeah, but like my thing is, if you have these guys, like we always say, some of these guys get mistreated. If you get AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, all these guys, if WWE actually like gets worse as far as paying attention to them goes, and they piss somebody off, and one of them goes over, or a couple of them go over to New Japan, and they have this big U.S. following, that a little tiny U.S. platform. Yeah, that could drop people, I think.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think
I don't think it's gonna happen. But yeah.
With competition, like back in the WWE, WCW days, it was one or the other. They went on the same time. You couldn't really watch both because they were on at the same time. They're Monday Night Wars. Mm-hmm. People who watch New Japan watch WWE. Like, I don't know. They know AJ Styles and Finn Balor are there, so they're still gonna tune into WWE to see how some of their favorite New Japan pro wrestlers are doing at that current moment. And so it's not really competition when you share You know what I'm saying?
I think it's an interesting time. I agree, obviously, but if we're talking about the future, I think, if anything, that is the closest thing that will get to competition in like the next 10 years.
I agree.
It's the closest thing.
The only way anything like this could ever happen is if some rich guy, like super rich guy, said, you know what, I'm going to get into the wrestling business and I'm going to try to compete with this man, kind of like what Ted Turner did. Otherwise, no one's going to have the money to get the talent and drawing power and like steal a talent like someone stole Hulk Hogan. Like, that's the only way. Like, everyone knows that WWE is, it's been too long. There's no, you can't reckon with that force.
Right.
It sounded really weird, but it's really not going to happen, and it's sad to see because monopolization is always tough to deal with, in my opinion, because there's no options. There is only one option, and one option is limiting. It's always better to have more options. An oligopoly is usually better for consumers, and we don't really have that in wrestling. You obviously have other choices, but as far as mainstream stuff goes, you can't just turn on your TV and start watching New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Mm-hmm. And if there's any time to do that, it's now, because fans, they're an angry bunch as of late. In the past couple of years, they've gotten.
I think it's just because social media. I think fans are always angry.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but then you hear Roman Reigns come out every week.
Yeah, I think that's just because he's a really good heel. I'm not kidding. And Roman Reigns, in my opinion, is just a heel now.
This week on Raw, he was a heel.
No doubt about it.
That promo with Finn was heelish.
Yeah, he. I mean, I know John Cena did it when John Cena just said, "Oh yeah, I'm number one contender," and then it became truth. But Roman Reigns was like, "I don't want to be in this Fatal 5-Way. I am the number one contender." Mm-hmm. And then Finn was like, "Hey, no, I was first Universal Champion. You can't forget about me." And Roman's like, "I don't care."
Yeah,
he just was full blown bad guy. Like he's not a face in my opinion, but
yeah, I'll agree with that. But moving on, like back to the original point. Yeah,
I sorry for that tangent, but I did think
that was a good discussion. But yeah, Randy Orton basically, he acknowledged something that I think a lot of fans also feel, and people are starting to take sides, even though I don't really see the point in doing that. I'm just happy that they're talking about it. I'm happy that we're in the middle of this transition, as to say, like, we're in an interesting time where the style of wrestling is sort of changing. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun to talk about.
Yeah, I agree. I don't care that much. I like what I see in general. I think booking is most important. I think characters are most important. Styles of wrestling, they'll change, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, when people in the Attitude Era were wrestling, people complained about that generation, and then kept moving up. Styles change over time.
Yeah. Styles clash. Anyways, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. So okay. you intro about the next section, because I really have to go. Which one's P? Is P number 2?
Number 1. That number 2 is poop. Didn't you watch the Emoji Movie trailer?
I gotta go number 1. I didn't watch the Emoji Movie trailer. I can't hear you though right now. So I'm gonna be right back.